Not sure if this is working. Looks like it is. Okay, I'm going to minimize this and mute this. And let's see here. Okay. Hello, Grace. I have like my desktop here, and that's what I'm working off of, and I have the streaming software running, but I don't want to have that in the corner, so I have my other laptop over here, and I feel like there's a little bit of a lag, but I have my other laptop over here, and I'm going to pop out the comments. Let's see here. Pop out chat. Okay. Everyone can hear me, correct? Yay! I'm so glad people are joining. Okay, let me see if I can get this chat over here. Hello, Leona! I'm so excited that you're so excited. Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so I have a little like list here of what I want to talk about. I want to see what I can see, and also this is so weird. Okay, so I have a list here of what I want to talk about today, and if you have questions, I'm going to try and go back and forth. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad everyone is here. I have to say I am 100% nervous. I don't know why, but I just feel like, oh, I don't know. So I have a list of things I want to talk about, and the first one, because Leona asked this question, is I want to talk about my design setup. And what I mean by that is the like images, or not images, the screens that I have open when I'm working on something. So most of the time I work with Inkscape. I have a pattern here, so I'm just going to open up something new because I've been trying to come up with things to talk about while I'll try not to be nervous. Come up with things to talk about while I was prepping for this. So I got some stuff behind me. I got my Cricut over here. So I always work in Inkscape. It doesn't lag. It is not part of Design Space at all. It's a free download here. I'll show you where you can get it. Let's go over here. Inkscape. .org. So it's a free download. I have not been I haven't tried it out on my Mac yet. I did reimage my Mac this past weekend, so I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried to download it, but you just download it. It's free. I haven't had on my Windows computer, I haven't had to do anything crazy. It's not like I have to install any like extensions or anything. It just opens and it just works. And what I like about it is it doesn't lag. It's not Design Space. I can save things to my computer and I can work from there. This seems to be lagging here. Hang on. I want to make sure that I'm still good. Okay. Okay, I think I'm still good. So I like to work from here because I can just save things to my computer, and I use Google Drive. So when I save something, I save it to Google Drive on my on my hard drive, and that way I can access it on my desktop computer and I can access it on my laptop. Yay! I'm glad you made it. Yay! Yay! So I can access it on my desktop and on my laptop. That's just something that I like to do because I have multiple things that I'll work on, whereas like sometimes I'll be sitting at my desk, sometimes I'll be traveling, so and working on something. I always have to be doing something. I cannot be idle. So I like to save it in Google Drive. That's just for you. So I use Inkscape. That's the number one thing that I use. And so also I want to talk about some resources that I use. I'll often have freepik.com up. This is a free vector. There's like JPEG, there's photos and whatnot it's a free website that you can use. And I do have I think I've talked about this before in a lot of my videos, I do have an account. So you can sign up and you can subscribe to them monthly, I believe it is, and you don't have to give any attribution. So if this is something that you want to use for like a shop, an Etsy shop or something like that, if you want to get patterns or make little stickers or whatnot, then you can totally do that. I would suggest reading all the legal stuff there as well, so you know you're not no, the Inkscape, or I'm sorry, Freepik does not offer PNG images, but if you download it, if you use it in Inkscape and you download the vector, then you can edit the vector in Inkscape and turn it into a PNG. You can get PNG images, sorry, I gotta get comfortable here. You can get PNG images from like places on Etsy. So if you go to Etsy, and I haven't found a free clip art sort of website that has the quality of PNG images that I want, and so that's why I don't really recommend going to like trying to find free online ones, because they're kind of hokey. They're like the Word clip art, you know, like what is that called? Microsoft Word, like the clip art and stuff. So if you want to type in like, I don't know, planner PNG or planner clip art, you're probably going to find, it's probably going to come up with planner stuff, but you're probably going to find a lot of things that are sold as PNG files. So let's just open one of these here. And I'm thinking my computer might lag because I have all this stuff going and I'm trying to broadcast this. So we'll see. Let's see. Clip art, yeah, PNG files, transparent background, and a JPG file with a white background. So you'll find PNG files on Etsy most likely, but Freepik, it has vectors, and I like that because a vector, an SVG, is a scalable vector graphic. A PNG is, hang on, you know what, I don't know, portable something graphic? I'm not sure. I don't really know what that stands for. All I know is it does support a transparent background. So if you have a PNG, it's going to have a finite size, meaning you can't stretch it larger because it's going to lose its resolution. It'll get blurry, it'll get fuzzy. If you have an SVG file, you can stretch it to infinity, and the way that the resolution accounts for that, it's like a mathematical thing. It's like how it scales it relative to the resolution that you're trying to print it at. It's all this stuff. I'm probably explaining it really, really badly here. Let's see, I lost the chat. Okay. So I'll have Freepik open, and I will get vector images from there. I'll also work on, sometimes I'll use Flat Icon. I don't have a subscription to Flat Icon. You can use these for free. It's like icons. So we can type in like television or telephone. I'm not gonna, portable network graphics. You are correct. You are correct. You can see that I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. So we get all these like telephone icons here. And when you go to download these, I believe you'll get, this is either an ad or it's telling you that you have to credit. So you do have to credit the author if you use these, but you can download a PNG file, an SVG file, a Photoshop file, or an EPS file. I am not familiar with EPS files, I will tell you right now. I do know if you want to use those in Inkscape, you do have to install some other like extension, so you don't even have to worry about that. But you can download a PNG and an SVG. And because if you do not have a subscription to this, you still have to credit the author. So if you're going to use this for something to sell, then you would need to credit the author. But those two are the places that I really go to find things. Because I have a subscription here, I try to type in things and use the icons that I might be able to find on Freepik. So yeah, another few ones for like pattern papers. What I like to do is I like to find free scrapbooking papers. So there's one blog that I go to a lot, and it's freeprettythingsforyou.com, and there's scrapbook papers on here. And I've contacted her before, and I said, hey, I'm doing like a free, yeah, it should be able to you should be able to watch it later. It should upload. It might be private for a little while. This broadcast here, it might be private for a little while, but I'm gonna make sure that it goes through and uploads correctly and everything, so it should be available to watch later. But I've contacted her and I said, hey, you know, I found your digital papers. Can I use them in a free sticker kit that I'm offering on my blog, you know, is that an acceptable term of use? And people want to talk to you. So if you have a question, I would always email them and ask the designer of anything that you're going to use, and you know, make sure that you're using it the way you want. So you can find free scrapbooking papers here. So here's one like this. You can also look on Pinterest and find some that are like, they will have CU or commercial use listed on them. Some of them are not just like, you can use them for scrap for hire kind of things, or if you're making scrapbooks or something for other people, you can use them that way. Sometimes they'll have a commercial use, meaning you can do whatever you want with them. This is a beautiful ad here, meaning you can do whatever you want with them, but you know, maybe you have to credit them or something like that. So there's that. That's talking about Etsy. But yeah, the main thing I use is free picks. So I'll go in here and I'll say I want to look for Valentine's Day. That's not spelled correctly. Graphics. And what I normally do is I select vectors. And I also select this selection and premium, and that's because I have the account with them, and those are the ones that I can use for free without attribution, without crediting the author. But I'll just scroll through here and I'll like find something that I want. So let's say I want to check out these guys. I haven't found a way that you can find what files are included in the download. Usually I just download it and see what it is. If it's got an AI file, which is an Adobe Illustrator file, you can open that in Inkscape. So this one does. It has an AI file, and I just double click where it downloads. You can also locate it in your downloads folder, and I just double click where it downloads and open it up, and I decide what I'm going to do with it. For this, I always just click OK and leave it alone, and it should open up here. Yeah. And so it'll open up in its own little Inkscape guy. Okay. Oops. And I make it big. I also use a lot of shortcut keys for zooming in and copying, pasting, things like that. So if you hold down your control key and use the scroll wheel on your mouse, you'll be able to zoom in really quickly. And so what we have, because we don't have the font that was on this guy right here, let's see if we can refresh this so we can see this better. Because we don't have this font that was right here, when you download it to Inkscape, it's going to show the font weird, but that's not what I want anyway. I didn't mean to delete that. I didn't realize that was grouped, so we'll delete this. I don't need these hearts. We don't need this. And we can see this is all grouped together. So I'm going to ungroup this, and I'm going to hold down the Control Shift and G, and I'm going to ungroup it. And I don't want, is that all the shadows? Yes. So now we have this guy. We're lucky because I can make a list of shortcuts. I can probably link you to a document that's probably going to have a lot of shortcuts for you. A lot of the things are the same between various programs. Like if you're going to copy and paste, it's Control-C and Control-V. But yeah, I will definitely do that. If I don't, hold me accountable and either post it in the group or post another comment on here. So we're lucky for this one that it already has an offset. You can see I tried to put it on top of this square here, but I can't because it's on the lower layer. So I'm going to raise it up, and you can see this one already has an offset, which is really great because now we don't have to do any funkiness to get the Cricut to cut around this. So I'm going to say that's wonderful, and I'm going to go ahead and make this. I'm going to not make a sticker sheet because I have a bunch of different videos on making sticker sheets, and I'm going to have like doing this exact same thing, but I'm going to have another video. If you watch today's video, printing and cutting stickers, that's great. If you watch today's video that I uploaded, I showed you how to design an ombre heart checklist, a today header, and a little teardrop little sticker guy. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to have a whole nother video that's going to go up on the channel that is 3 or 4 more elements to design and then putting them all in a sticker sheet. So that's going to be 2 more videos like that. So I'm not going to go over too much of that today right now. So we can see this already has an offset, which that means if we highlight everything right here and we import this after we save everything in Cricut, we're going to have this little trapezoidal, I don't think that's a trapezoid, what is that, like triangular, rectangular, geometry, squares, I don't know. kind of thing, it's going to cut out around this size here. So what we want to do is we can make it whatever size you want. We can change this over here to inches. And let's say we're going to lock the proportions because we want to be able to, I'm going to hit Control G so I can move this all together. We want to be able to scale this however we want. So you can see it's not losing its resolution. If this was a PNG image, it would not, you would not be able to stretch it this far. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a PNG image. Y'all have so much fun printing and cutting. I did something. I'm going to have something that we're going to print and cut later, hopefully. Well, this is already print. I'm going to show you how to do something else with it. So we're going to do some printing and cutting too. So I'm going to export this as a PNG, and we're just going to export as down here in the bottom. If this doesn't show up, if you don't have this little sidebar here, you can go to, I always do this wrong, Object, and the things I like to have, let's back up a little bit, I kind of got ahead of myself. The things I like to have in my sidebar over here are the fill and stroke, which is going to be what color things are. So what color your shapes are. And then I also like to have the align and distribute, I guess, window open, which you can also find these under here. So Object and align and distribute, and that'll bring that up over here. Fill and stroke. I also like to have the export area. Those are like the three main things that I use that are only over here. Sometimes I'll have the text box over there if I need to type something out, but those are the three things that I use the most over here in this little window here. So I'm going to select all this. I'm just going to make this a PNG image. I'm going to make this a clip art image that I'm not going to put on a sticker sheet. I'm just going to upload. Let's say I just want to upload this one image to Design Space and have Design Space say, okay, this is how many of these stickers you can fit in this guy. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because maybe at some point in time, I don't know how big I want these stickers later. So maybe I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need a sticker that's, you know, over 5.5 inches wide. But we're going to make it huge because we're turning it into a PNG. We want to preserve that resolution. So we're going to turn it into a really large size PNG. And what we want to do is make sure that you have selection checked right here. Don't change any of this other stuff, but you do want to make sure that your pixels are at 300 dpi. That's a maximum resolution at this width and height and of your PNG. So we'll click Export As. I have, let's go to test here. I'm going to make a new folder and I'm going to just name this, I don't know, envelope, Valentine's Day stuff. Okay, so I'm going to name this envelope. And what I've done, make sure that you've only got selected what you want to export as Hello Faith as a PNG image. You click Export As, you name it where you want to save it, and you click Save, and we're going to click Export. And that has saved it onto our little, let's see here, open a new window. That has saved it here. And you can see I already sort of messed up because I forgot it was on top of that thing and I saved it with a pink. So that's the other thing. If you have anything behind it, it's going to save whatever color it is. So I totally forgot about that. So we can just save it again. So we'll go to Export As. We definitely want to save it as envelope again. When you hit Export, it's going to ask you if you want to replace it. And yeah, you do want to replace it. So we'll go back here and now we have this nice guy with a an offset around him. So let's see here. I'll go over here. We'll go to Cricut Design Space and we'll just upload this guy. Let's see here. Upload images, browse. It's probably going to bring up. Okay, here we go. I always choose complex image. Now, I'm going to talk about this later, but I really want to talk to you all about the difference between a PNG and a JPEG file. I know not everyone is concerned with things like that. Like, it's not, you don't have to have the knowledge of, like, I'm a graphic designer to really be a creative person and really, really work with your Cricut, you don't have to. There are just some things that you have to know, and just kind of things you have to recognize. Like, okay, I need a file that has a transparent background. And what that means when we come to working with the Cricut is when I upload this file, can I see these check marks around it here? If you can, that's great. If you can't, your image will probably require some cleanup, which I'm sure you know about that, that you've probably done that before. So it's gonna, if you can see these checkered mark kind of things, checkered background, then that's a PNG image. So I always click complex image. I find that it kind of changes the colors. I don't know if that's going to show up on your screen or if you've experienced this before, where it kind of changes your colors if you don't choose complex image. So I always choose complex image, and you can see this is super huge. But again, if you can see the checkerboard behind it, that means it's a PNG image. I'm going to click on preview, and I'm going to show you that this is going to cut out this little crazy shape that I was trying to name earlier and sounding like a crazy person. It might take a minute here. This always takes a minute. Another thing while this is loading is I've realized that Cricut and Design Space, everything takes a minute. It takes a minute and a half. So you just gotta wait and be patient. And you're not the only person that gets the shockwave thing. This might crash here. I might have ruined everything here, because I don't want to be patient. But I've realized that it takes a little while. So even with uploading the sticker sheets, like even these guys, my belief is that because there's so many parts to it, is that it's taking a minute to register and say, okay, I need to save this data as something that I need to cut. And so there's, a crap ton of these on here. So it's got a lot that it's trying to think about. This is taking way too long. So I think I'm going to, you can't see anything. Have you tried, can you hear me? Is it, let me see, because I'm still watching myself over here. I think I'm gonna close this and just not. I'm hoping you understand about the whole seeing what it's going to cut around, because I do not want to wait for this. I don't want to wait for it. Okay, I'm giving up. I'm sorry, I'm giving up. I'm going to talk about Pixlr here in a moment too. If I can spell. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think my computer is upset because, which, did you all see that Cricut Access, I don't know if you ever used this for any other any other projects, it's only $7.99. When I signed up, when I first got my Cricut, it was like $10 a month, and I stopped using it because I stopped using it. I'm going to go back here and upload this image again. And do that. But yeah, I can't believe Cricut Access is only $7.99. Yeah, I find that sometimes it'll be slow and then other times it won't be slow. And I don't know who controls that. I don't know why things are slow and why things aren't so slow. We're just going to continue with this. This is probably going to take a minute here too, but you always obviously want to choose a save as a print then cut image. If you just want to cut out the shape, you could save it as a cut file, but you do want to save it as a print then cut image. See, like I said, I always get the shockwave thing too. So I guess we'll wait for this. I'll go on and I'm going to talk about, back to here, and I'll talk about using some of these tools in Design Space. So let's say that is there like a basic shape over here? Let's say that we want to work with this envelope and we want to have different colors here. So I open up this fill and stroke. There is a shade range. You lost a file. I know. It's so annoying. It's like you're in the middle of doing something and then you can't get it done because it's crashes. But there is this bar of colors down here that you can use. There's also the color wheel where you can just change your colors wherever you want and just pick them. Sometimes I also go to this site, which is colorlovers.com. And what it is a place that you can make patterns and color swatches. So you can find really popular ones, color palettes, that's what I'm trying to think of, or colors or whatever. Let's say you are just trying to get inspired and you want to have, I don't know, some ombre heart checklist or whatever that are just, everything fits in a nice color palette. So you could type in any word and search for palettes. You got to make sure this guy is selected, the little 3 bars, and then you can find all of these color palettes that you like. So if we want to choose this one, it's going to give you the RBG code, and it's also going to give you the hex code. So what we can do is we can copy this, so Control C, go over here. I always hit it multiple times. You don't necessarily have to do that. And this is only, you can put in the hex code. It's only, the hex code is, what is that, 6 digits? This has 8 in it, so I always leave the 2 F's at the end, and that doesn't seem to affect it much. And then we have a, I just hit Control V. I guess you might be able to right click and paste. Yep. And it changes the color. So sometimes what I will do is I will snap these guys to the edges here, and I'll work, okay, maybe I want, yeah, color lovers. It's spelled like the, I guess, English way you would spell colors, or British way you would spell colors. COLOUR lovers.com. And it's the place for a whole bunch of different color palettes. And so, you know, if I say, oh, I don't really like this teal color here, maybe I want to go with this, somebody named this one Crusted Mud. So we can just go back over here and paste that hex code into the field here and find it. You can also use the color picker. So let's say you want this heart to match this cupcake liner. You know, you could choose that with the color picker. You can't bring it over, unfortunately, and choose it from over here. I'm sure there's a program that can do that. I can't, I haven't found one. I know there's one out there. I just haven't found one and downloaded it that lets you pick colors, and it probably will store the colors somewhere, and you can just copy them and paste them and whatnot. So there's that. Let's go back over here to see if this has done anything yet. So I don't know why I loaded it like that. So save, and we'll load this into Design Space here, or yeah, into Design Space. So that's what, this is mainly what I do when I am trying to work in Inkscape, is I just decide what I want to do. Do I want to have a whole bunch of envelopes envelopes on a sticker sheet? If I do, then, you know, Control G, I'll make sure that I have my sizing here in inches and not pixels. If I want to make a sticker sheet, I'll say, okay, does 1/2 inch look good? Is that too small? I'll change this guy to 5.5 by 8, because I use Chrome. That's not correct. Oh, that's wrong. I wasn't in width. 5.5 by 8, because I use Chrome as my browser, and the print and cut area, yes, color lovers. The print and cut area in Chrome is 5.5 by 8 inches, so I always use that. I say, you know what? I know this is the size of my sticker sheet here. That might be a little bit too small, so we'll go back here and lock the proportions. The reason why I lock the proportions is because you're going to end up with something crazy if you don't do that. And maybe I'll change it to 0.8. Hello. Okay, 0.8. That might be too big. I don't know. I'm just messing around here. And then I will align it here. When you're working with the align function, I guess, window, you want to make sure that you have selection area selected for most of the things that you're going to do. You're going to want to make sure that you have selection area, because you're trying to snap the items into this area, or you're trying to align them with each other. So you don't want to make sure that, or you don't want to accidentally snap it to this little page right here that this has imported. I'm just kind of working off of the canvas, and you can see this is taking forever, and I don't know why. I don't know who's in control of, maybe there's little mice and they're piecing together the image before they save it. Like, I don't know. I don't know why it's so slow. But you can see, I mean, it's not just you, it's everybody. I have this problem when I'm trying to upload the sticker things that I make. So But yeah, so if I want to make the sticker sheet, I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'll go ahead and do it. And I will have it aligned here so I know that I'm just working within this canvas. And I'm going to hit Control D a few times and make sure I select one of those guys and the canvas here, align to the top. And I'll go over here and select all of those. I'm going to distribute them. You can see hitting Control D is going to make a duplicate of them. I'll hit Control G and group them together, and I'm going to hit Control D again and duplicate those guys. I'm going to select that column and the background by holding down the Shift key, align it to the right, select everything, hold down the Shift key and unselect the background and distribute those guys. And then I have a sticker sheet I can export. I'm trying to get rid of this background here. So get rid of the background. Do the same thing we just did. Highlight everything, go to Export As. Whoa. Export. Yeah, you should be able to watch it later, Nikki. I believe it's going to upload automatically. It might be private. I keep forgetting that word, unlisted or private for a minute, but it should be able to be there. And so then you can see we saved it as a PNG. It has this transparent background, and now you have a sticker sheet you can upload to Design Space. So let's go back into Design Space and insert this into a canvas. So this is going, if you start stretching it, it might display okay on the screen because the resolution of the screens is a bit different when it comes to something that you're seeing digitally versus something that's being printed. So we can change this and we can say we want an envelope that's 1 inch wide. Let's copy this and paste this because we know when we saved the file it was a little over 5.5 inches. So we can also, maybe we want a huge sticker that's 3 inches. I don't know, you can change it that way too. You can also save this and upload it as an SVG. It will have different layers. You'd have to flatten it and change it to something to be print and cut. But you can totally work with an SVG in Cricut Design Space. I just choose not to because I don't want to have to work with all the layers. The more that you're adding to Design Space, again, I have no idea. I'm not in charge of Design Space. But I feel like the more that you add to Design Space, the more it wants to lag and slow down. So that's a little bit there of what I wanted to talk about. So yeah, you can make your own clip art. You don't necessarily have to make the sticker sheets like I always make, where there's, you know, multiple ones on a page. You can just make an envelope and then you can say, you know, I do want a whole page of envelopes, or maybe I want to cut 5 envelopes and 16 cupcakes and whatever you need for whatever you want. So let's say if you're trying to cut something to supplement maybe a monthly kit that you have, you're like, well, I don't need 700 labels, I just need 5 of them. You know, you can just make a canvas of what you need and what you want to cut. You don't always have to cut, you know, full sticker sheets. So what I wanted to do with Pixlr here is I wanted to show you more about the difference between, oh, hello from South Carolina. Is it warm there? Because it's cold here. It's like 44 degrees today, which is crazy because I used to live in the South. And it's like 70 degrees and, you know, that's fine, that's great. It gets down to 44 degrees. You're like, this is freaking cold. I need to bundle up. Where's my scarf? Up here in Indiana where I'm at, you definitely get to learn the difference between like -40. I don't know. We probably never went down that far, but like -20 degrees and 20 degrees. Like I thought there was a limit to cold. There is definitely not. So when it's 40 degrees out, I'm like, I'm just wearing a jean jacket. It's spring. Let's go to the beach. So, oh my gosh. But anyway, so what I wanted to do is talk more about PNG and JPEG files. So the only difference between that is the transparency and the file extension. So I have these 2 boxes here. I'm just going to create this new image, and I already did it wrong because I want to have a transparent background here. So if you, in any design software, for the most part, if you have a checkered background, this is true in PicMonkey, this is true in Pixlr, it's true in Inkscape is not going to show you the checkered background, but it allows you to save something as a PNG. So is going to support that transparent background. The Cricut Design Space, if you can see, if it shows you this checkerboard background, you're going to realize that you're working with something that is a PNG or supports transparency. So I'm going to open a new layer here just so I can show you. Let's go here. So I have these two blue half boxes, and I'm going to open image as a layer. Okay, and they both look pretty similar. That's not what I wanted to do. This, okay. They both look pretty similar, except for the fact that one of them has transparent rounded corners. So the background is transparent, and the other one has this little white triangle here. If you can see any white around it, that means it is a JPEG file or something that's, it could be a PNG, it just doesn't have a transparent background. Because I could put a square, like I did with that envelope where I accidentally kept that rectangle behind it. It's a PNG, part of it is transparent, but you know, I had that accidental kind of thing going on in there. So if it has a background, you might have to clean it up. They're not mutually exclusive. I don't know how to really explain that because I don't know the science behind it, if you get what I'm saying. So it's like, you know, how, what is that? A rectangle can be a square, but a square can't be a rectangle kind of thing. They're not mutually exclusive. So you can see if we uploaded this to Cricut Design Space, this one right here, this top blue one, it would cut around this nicely with these rounded corners. If you uploaded this bottom one to Design Space, it's going to cut a giant square around it if you didn't clean it up, because it's going to read this file as a square file or a rectangular file. I wish it was 9:35 a.m. I could get so much done right now. That's so crazy. Time differences, what is that, like time zones? They're so crazy. It's hard when you're living someplace else and you got to get used to it, and then maybe you move someplace else and it's really crazy. I gotta drink a drink here. So I hope that explains a little bit more about a PNG file and a JPEG file and what the Cricut can do. I don't know if I said this in a video before or not, but the reason I like the Cricut in Design Space is because it works with PNG images much differently than the Silhouette software. If I upload a PNG image into the Silhouette software and I go to cut it, it's going to read it as a square file. It's going to cut it at sharp corners. It's not going to cut it, even though it's got a transparent background, it's not going to cut these nice corners. It's going to cut it as a square because the file, it reads the file as the square file that it is, whereas the Cricut is saying this has a transparent background. I only need to cut the actual image inside of the file. So that's why I like the Cricut better. You don't have to set cut lines. You don't have to trace anything. You don't have to say, oh my gosh, I can't get this to trace right. This doesn't have any cut files. You know, I like it because it just knows where to cut for the most part, which is why I like designing in Inkscape, because I can create what I want it to cut for the most part from there. So I use Pixlr. There's a tutorial on my channel about using the blackout files for Silhouette files. My dog is coming over here. She's probably like, give me some more treats. And she snorts all the time. I don't know if you heard that, but she sounds like a little piggy. There's a tutorial on my channel about using the Design Space, the Silhouette, the cut files, the blackout files that a lot of Etsy shops or even blogs will offer to supplement and create a Cricut, file that you can cut with. It's cutting every little individual part up. And that's great because the Cricut's going to read the PNG file, and it's not going to, you don't have to be so precise with it. So I'll leave that link down below too after this uploads, just so you know where that's at. But that's Pixlr. This is an online photo editing software. It's really complex for being free and online, but it's not as, can you see my dog? It's not as difficult or complicated or intimidating as like Photoshop or something like that. So there is that. So, oh, the other thing I want to talk about, let me close this out. Leave. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to close this one. Yeah, you should be able to use Mozilla Firefox. Yeah. I don't see why not. It's a supported browser for Design Space. I just personally like Chrome. It's one of those things where this is what I've used and what I've gotten used to, and so I really like it. So, and I understand that the print and cut area is lower than a lot of the other browsers. So for Chrome, it's like 5.5 by 8, and I think for all other browsers, it's like 6 by 8 or 6 by 8.5. So you're losing like 1 inch on one side and 1/2 inch on the other side. But when I create my printables, especially for the blog, for the blog and for the group, I want to accommodate everybody. So if I'm going to make it that 5.5 by 8 size, because if you use Chrome, then it's not going to work if you're trying to do the 6 by 8. So yeah, you should be able to use Mozilla Firefox. If you have problems with which browser if you're clicking a link, I know someone saved the link to their desktop and it was opening automatically in Chrome. That's because your default browser was set to Chrome. So if you need to change your default browser, you might need to do that, which you can just simply Google like change default browser to Firefox or change default browser to Chrome or whatever. But it should work in Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer. I think there was another one. I don't think it's going to work in something obscure like Opera or whatever. I think there was another one. Is there another one that's really popular? I don't even know. Maybe it was Opera. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, that should work. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you, someone had asked I like to sit cross-legged in my seat and I really shouldn't. Someone had asked on the event, I think, about trying to do a double cut. And I did an experiment because in theory, I know how you can do it. And you can see that this, I actually didn't cut it first. I just kind of, I hope you can hear me. I didn't cut this one, like kiss cut it first. I just was doing an experiment. So you can do it. It's going to take a lot of edge. Yes, it does not work with Edge. Is that what's supposed to be replacing Internet Explorer? I think that's what's supposed to be replacing it. Baby girl, you need to go away. I know, it's okay. So I'm going to try to explain how I did this kind of thing to you today. So let me put this over here. Also, I use my mats until they disintegrate, so that's why I have like washi tape and there's like stuff on them. So like, okay, for example, let's go to insert, upload images. I'm clicking on the wrong buttons here. I'm going to do these hearts because, and if you didn't know, all this stuff is so tiny I can't ever tell what it is, but you can click this little eyeball guy, this little eye letter guy, and see the names of which is why I name the stickers in the Cricut Ready stickers group the way I do, so that you know what you're clicking on. It's not like example file number 7A3, like you know what you're looking for when you're in your Design Space library. So I'm looking for the hearts. I'm going to add the hearts. And the best thing, I want to say the other thing about this is, because the sticker sheets, if you design a sticker sheet and you know the dimensions, it's always going to print the same way. If you size it properly to 5.5 inches wide, it's always going to print the same way. So this is from a totally different canvas. I know I'm still going to be able to cut this out though, because this is like it's a fixed setup. So you don't have to worry about, oh my God, Shockwave crashed and I just printed this, and you know, everything, it'll still print correctly. So I uploaded the hearts and I sized to, replacing Internet Explorer. I don't know. We also upgraded to Windows 10 in my office, and everyone was like, no, I can't believe this. But we still use Internet Explorer, so I don't know. So upload this. This is in the files, the Cricut Ready sticker group files. Upload this, size it to 5.5. If you keep the proportions locked, it's going to automatically populate in the height, and it'll be 8 inches wide, or 8 inches tall. I'm going to click on Go. And here's where the tricky part is. So we know that we're going to print this. I've already printed it and I've already cut one. It's on my mat over here. So I'm gonna do something here. Whoops, I just clicked my mouse. that kind of helps you do this. So I'm going to click on your keyboard. If you have, like, I don't even know what this would be called. If you have a keyboard with all your function keys and whatnot, you should be able to find something called print screen. On my laptop, some of my buttons show in white, and then there's also another, like another lettering on there that is orange. So I have to click or press on this FN function button on my keyboard, hold that down, and then press my print screen button. So it may be different depending on what kind of thing. And if you're using a Mac, man, I can't remember the Mac key or shortcut key. I think it's like Control or Command Alt 3 or something like that is the print screen function for a Mac. I don't remember. But I'm just going to hit my print screen button, and that takes a screenshot of the screen that we're working with here. I'm going to open up Paint over here, and I'm just going to hit Control on my keyboard and then also V and paste it in here. I'm going to grab this and move it over because this doesn't matter. This little thing really doesn't matter. We're just using this as like a reference tool. So we'll hit go and we'll print the page, we'll cut it. What I do, the settings that I used to use a custom setting of like washi sheets, and I would turn my dial all the way to custom, and then I would go over here and do everything. And then I realized that vinyl, anywhere from vinyl to iron-on, really works for the sticker paper that I use. And this is the paper that's linked in the pinned post, I believe, of the Cricut Ready group. So it's that same paper, and I really love that paper. So you don't have to, I don't know, be funky about it. But that's the setting that I use. So you print the page, you cut it. I've already got one cut, and I actually have it here. So what you run into after you print it and after you cut it, we're going to just pretend we already did that and we have finished. The problem you'll run into is if you try to, you can't do another print then cut, because you're going to want to cut a rectangle around this guy that is, let me put this out of the way. You're going to want to cut a rectangle around this guy that is larger than the known print area. So let's see here. I'm going to send this to the back, because if we make this like rectangle guy here, this is kind of what you want to have, right? This is going to be your sticker sheet. It's going to cut it out of the sheet. If you try and do another print then cut area, we already know the area is 5.5 by 8. I can't print again to get it to line up with these registration marks. What am I going to do? So that's why I took this screenshot. I will tell you, this is not an exact science, but it's a two-stepper, and it will be, I don't know, you can get it precise-ish, but it's not going to be exactly precise. So I'm going to go back to this layer screen, and I'm going to hide my stickers. I'm going to hit go. And this is a cut file. This is a cut now. So what I'm trying to do here is kind of eyeball where this square, this rectangle, is going to be in relation to where this was on our mat. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So we kind of want it to be like right here. You see what I'm saying? Because if we were to superimpose this over this, which we can't do, but the registration mark would kind of be right here. There'd be another registration mark right here. So then we can click on go. And I'll set my dial to something like cardstock, and you'll load this same guy in here. It's not going to read your registration marks because you're not doing a print then cut. I don't know if y'all can see this. I have my bright light on, so it's not reading the registration marks, so I have to put this like flap over my Cricut. So we'll just load that mat in, and yeah, I turned it to cardstock, and I'm just gonna make it cut here. Also, I don't have a beautiful background. This is my office. I don't have an Instagrammable office. And I can't get it. I'm sure if you played around with it, you could probably get it to be a precise thing, but I can't get it to be precise when I'm cutting this out. So again, if you're trying to do this for like a shop or something, you may want to just stick to cutting it by hand. But you can see it's cut around it. So I have, I'm hoping I'm in frame because I can't really tell. I'm like, there's a lag. So I have this guy kiss cut right here. I'm gonna pull him off. And then I've also cut around the sticker sheet. So it's a two-stepper. It's a two-step thing. Let's put this right here. It's a two-step thing. So I have that, but you can see, I'm hoping you can see, how I didn't get it so precise. So someone sent me a message, and I'll have to go back and see how they did it. Because someone sent me a message on Facebook, and they said that they used an X and Y and a percentage value, I think that was maybe on their mat or something to line it up. And I mean, I don't know. I guess you could probably use this guy here. So I'm going to zoom in on my paint here. And this is what I'm talking about something having a fixed resolution. You see we've zoomed in on this. This was a screenshot that we took, and that screenshot looked nice. But when you zoom in on it, it is, it's all pixelated. And you can't zoom in on, I'm not trying to point to my screen, but you all can't see what I'm doing. You can't zoom in on this. You can, you know, you can only, even if you use that control and their scroll wheel, it's not going to zoom in. So we can try to sort of line this up here. It's gonna take you a minute, and it's not gonna be precise either because there's nothing to line it up with. So we kind of want to, I don't know, maybe line up that one and that one. You can also, what I used to do is take a piece of paper and place it, you can't see me do this, but place it on my screen. And what I'm pretty much doing is lining up the edge of this guy and the edge of this little number guy that I'm trying to get on this screen here. And you can do that, and that'll kind of line it up. I mean, this is, like I said, this is not science. And like I said, you don't have to be, what works, works. I don't care if you use a ruler. I don't care, you know, whatever works will work for you. So I'm going to see, this one is not cut, it's just printed out, but this is for science, so I'm fine with that. So, yeah, you can funky hand cut, you can do whatever you want. Someone had just asked about if you could do it, if you could kind of do like a kiss cut, like a double cut kind of thing. And the answer is yes, but. So, yeah, of course. I use my paper trimmer, and I just, when I get done printing whatever I want to print, I just go through and cut them, and it's fine. Whoops. My computer went to sleep here. Come back to me. Uh-oh, my computer shut off. So I'm not going to be able to see your comments for 1 second here. What the heck is going on? Do. Let's refresh this. Am I here? Am I still here? Am I still going? I think I'm still going. Yeah. Right? Okay. Chat. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah, you can cut it by hand. I'm just trying to show you the possibilities of what you can do. So I put that on. I use washi tape because this is a less sticky mat, and it's lost its sticky. I think my microphone is right in my face hole here. So we'll see how precise this gets to it. But, and the other thing I was going to say that goes off with the fact that if you design a sticker sheet that's always the same way, then you can do a butt ton of sticker sheets. You can print and cut however many you want, and then you can just go back. You can do my whole lining up your paper trick, whatever, once, and then just repeatedly cut these out, you know, because you can cut as many projects as you want. And so this is lined up, and we'll hit go. So if you do that, then you know, you don't have to, it makes it more efficient. You don't have to print and cut, do all this other funky stuff, cut it out. Next one, print and cut, do all this funky stuff, cut it out. You know, you can just print a stack and then make it all at the one time. Oh no, you just bought a portrait. That's fine. I have a portrait too. Yeah, this didn't cut it right. It cut it a little bit way too far off. So you can see that. It left a little bit of the guy there. So it's definitely possible. You'll have to play around with it. And what you can do is, I mean, you can take notes and say, okay, I know this is how this is going to fit on here, and keep that as, you know, something that you are going to work with in the future. I mean, I actually have a notebook here that I keep on my desk, and I mean, it has the sizes for page flags that I wanted to make when I used to design in Design Space. If I wanted to make a page flag, I knew it was supposed to be that size. This is like the size that I liked. That the Erin Condren boxes were 1.9 inches by 1.5 inches. And I also wrote down like hex colors that I know I wanted to use a lot, like I showed you to get from Color Lovers. And I kept track of the things that I was designing, more hex colors, more RGB colors. Yeah, so you can keep that down and, you know, make notes to yourself and whatnot for there. I think I lost my paper because I was using it as a ruler. I think that is all that I really wanted to talk about. Someone else, I think it was Leona, had asked about filming. What I'm doing, what I'm using right now to screencast to you all, and it's supported by YouTube for live broadcasting, is OBS. Is that what it's called? Yeah, OBS. I don't know. Okay, I hope I don't get some weird results when I type this up. Let's see here. Let's see if I can just find the website. It might be OBS project. I don't know. I don't know where I downloaded it from, but it's OBS. What is it called? OBS Studio. Let's see. It's open broadcasting software. I'm all about free stuff. Here's another thing. You don't have to have Photoshop. You don't have to have Adobe Illustrator. You don't have to have anything fancy to have fun and to make things. You don't have to. Silhouette software is free. You don't even have to have a Silhouette. You can use the Design Space software for free. You don't have to connect it to your computer or to a Cricut. You can use Inkscape for free. You can use OpenOffice, which is what I use because I don't have, this isn't a design program. I used to use Word to make planner inserts. Anything can work for you. So this is an open broadcasting software. It's free for anybody to screencast. The other one I use is Screencaster, and that's what I use to screencast on my laptop. I didn't even know this OBS software existed. I found Screencast-O-Matic, that's what it's called. I found that first and I used that. To film my Plan With Me videos, I use my iPhone. I have a tripod. I would go get it, but it's over there and I'm stuck here. I have a tripod and I just put it in the tripod and film it overhead like this. I also got 2 construction clamp lights and 2 cheapo tripods from Walmart because I'm like, I don't want to wait for this stuff to come in the mail, and I also don't want to spend like $500 on lighting. So I went to Walmart, got 2 clamp lights from the construction kind of department, 2 tripods in the electronics department, and I got bright lights in the lighting department. They're really, really bright. I will leave the link to the ones that I use or similar ones down below because I have not used that program. SCAL4. What is that? Is that like a I don't know what that is. Let's look that up. But I use those lights to film and it's great. It's great. It works great. Oh, sure cuts a lot. No, I have not, because I'll tell you what, I just did my first vinyl project yesterday. This weekend. What's today? Tuesday? This weekend. I just did my first vinyl project and it's over there because I just took a picture of it. My first vinyl project. So, but no, I have not used Sure Cuts a lot. I'm not sure really how that program works. I've seen kind of various videos and stuff, but because I don't do a lot of working with true SVGs in Cricut Design Space and cutting SVG files for like die cuts or whatnot, I haven't used Sure Cuts a lot. So if you have resources for it and you want to post that in the Cricut group, I would love that because I want to know what you all know as well because I don't know anything about that. But yeah, that sounds interesting. I'll have to look into that because I don't know. But yeah, anything, I mean, you do not have to, which is why I suggest using FreePick and why it's such an awesome resource. You know, you just don't want to be taking credit for things that aren't yours. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be going over here and saying, I made this, when you didn't. And you want to make sure that you're attributing people correctly. And it's a great resource. And if you're using things, and there's a difference between personal use, obviously, I'm sure you know this, personal use and commercial use. But if you are using something like, I'm using this because I'm sharing this on my Instagram or my YouTube or my blog, and some of those platforms might be monetized, that's a commercial use to me. So, you know, I want to make sure I have those rights to use it, which is why I was saying make sure when you're checking out scrapbooking papers and stuff, it says commercial use on it. Ask the designer, can I use it this way? You know, you don't want to make any assumptions, especially if you're being public about it. So if something says for personal use only, you know, you can cut it out. If no one's going to see it, then no one's going to see it. So you may not be making money off of it broadcasting on a YouTube channel or Instagram or whatever. If you have a monetary source, I consider that commercial use. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know any of this. This is just like my gut feeling. And then there's another thing of like printing images and just using images. If no one sees it ever, then of course no one's going to know. But the whole point of like the planning community, I feel like, is to share and inspire. So you don't want to say, hey, I printed this directly from the internet, you know, kind of thing. That's just my 2 cents about it. But there's tons of free resources for those out there who are trying to be creative and, you know, may just, you don't want to spend $500 on designing softwares and clip art and, you know, all this stuff if you're just trying to have a new planner spread, you know, every month or so. So I think that's really all I wanted to talk about today in this little guy here. You know, I haven't even gone back over to Facebook. I don't know if anybody said anything on the chat on the group. I can't speak English today. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, so, I mean, does anybody else have any questions? Was this helpful for you all? I wonder. Yeah. So yeah, I think I might end it here. I don't see anything popping up over here. I hope I covered some stuff that was important, some stuff that, I don't know, was helpful. So yeah, again, I don't think that you have to spend a lot of money to be creative. There are resources out there for you, and obviously the Cricut can, you know, you can manipulate it to do what you want it to do when it comes. That's okay, Karen. It'll be up afterwards. I'm not sure when, but I'll put it up afterwards. So it should record and it should do everything. But I appreciate you all here. Thank you so much for coming and making me not feel like a crazy person, because I was so very nervous. So you have a question for late. You can ask the question now if you have a question, Kathy. Baby girl, what are you doing, baby girl? No question? If you have a question, put it in the group, message me on Facebook, write me a note on YouTube. I will try to answer it. And if I don't have the answer, I will definitely try to investigate for you. What happens when you bring a kit in and the planner boxes want to cut the white space out of the print in a square image? For that, Kathy, I do have, so when you're trying to like clean it up and it cuts into the white, I do have a video on how to, let's see if we can go, what is, I don't know. Ugh. I think this is me. Let's see here, videos. On, if you have a, what am I trying to say? A blackout file, then you can use this tutorial right here to cut it out. If not, you might have to get as close as you can in something like Pixlr or whatever to crop that guy out and make him an individual file, because if you're just using the cleanup button in YouTube, oh no, if you're just in YouTube, and if you use the cleanup magic eraser guy in Cricut Design Space, it's going to cut into that white. So you do have to kind of work around that. But if you don't have a blackout file, you can also create one in Silhouette Studio, which is this tutorial that I have, from the maybe Silhouette Studio file if you downloaded it. If you bought just the PDF on Etsy, you might have to do a little bit more work. I mean, either way, and I think I've said this in a video before, either way, working with your Cricut or working with your Silhouette, it's a lot of work to overlay cut lines and cut the stickers. It's a lot of work because you're trying to turn a design into something else that you can cut, whether it's in Design Space or in the Silhouette Studio. So it's a little bit of work. But hopefully that's a little bit helpful for you. I'm trying to come up with another way that it might be better to do it. I'm still working in my brain here. But yeah. So yeah, I'm so glad you guys found this helpful. Thank you for all the love in the comments and for tuning in. And I appreciate your time and I appreciate you sticking around with me. So yeah, I think I'm going to end this here right now. So everybody have a great night. And yeah, if you want to do this again, let me know and we can totally do it again. We can talk about different stuff. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to y'all later. Let me see how I can end this now. Let's see. Okay, I found it. Bye.